Hi everybody, it's Tyler here at the Las Vegas Regional. We're checking in. It's $39.90 Tech for Kids coming in out of Quebec. This team overall has just continually improved throughout their event. This is their third event coming in so far, and you got to take a look at what makes this robot look so cool. This angle frame that they have here, definitely a unique feature that we'll dive a bit more into why they chose their route and how it's working out for them. But a great overall intake, and you see the slide come out, diving a lot more into software on this robot too, how it all comes together. And I can't wait to hear more about this team coming up here on Behind the Bumpers. Guillaume, let's start breaking down this robot here. You guys have an awesome intake. Can you just talk to me about what goes into it?
Yeah, sure. So this year we have an over-the-bumper intake. So as you can see, it slides out like this. We're using a rack and pinion gear system. So on the side, you can see these are steel gears, so very durable, very resistant. We're also running a passive kicker bar. So there's two pivot points, one here and one here. So when the intake goes in, all the balls, all the kicker bar rotates and pushes the ball. So we have a lot of balls of fuels right here, and when we shoot, what we do is we push the intake in, and all the fuels go directly into our Spindexer. We're also running 3-inch diameter compliant wheels. Works great. The kicker bar also helps with intaking. On the side we also have polycarb to keep the fuels in. We added a net liner all around so the ball wouldn't get stuck and wouldn't jump out of the robot, because our intake is so powerful, sometimes the fuels would just fly up and leave our robot.
So your team has gone through 3 events now. This is
Yeah.
your 3rd event in here. Have there been any major improvements to your intake since then?
Yeah, so at the start of the season we used to have 20 DP gears with aluminum, which kept breaking, so we switched them to 20 DP, steel gear, like I said, and since then we had no issue.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. As you're getting ready for the competition season, think AndyMark as your one-stop shop for all your team needs. AndyMark's Launcher in a Box is a configurable solution that so many teams are finding success with for the rebuilt season. Also available at AndyMark.com, the AMPD AndyMark Power Distribution Board that provides 24 40-amp independently fused output channels for safe, reliable power distribution. That's AndyMark.com.
All right, let's pass over to Max, talk about the conveyor and the shooter on your robot as well too. Your team just has a really just smooth process with your ball, so just walk me through just how it all works.
After going through our intake, our fuels reaches our Spindexer. The first part of a Spindexer that the fuels get in contact with is our 3D printed cone right here. This helps funnel the ball to our spinning floor right down on the bottom of the robot, and when it reaches the floor, it gets in contact with 2 parts of the Spindexer. The first part is our 8 inches Omni wheels right here, which helps also funnel the ball to our spinning floor, and we choose 8-inch instead of a smaller one to be able to be in contact with more balls and shoot more faster. After that, the other part that it's in contact with is our wall right all around. It's a no friction and no static wall, which helps the balls go smoother inside our conveyor. After the Spindexer, our ball reaches our conveyor right here. Our conveyor is made of conic wheels to be able to align the balls directly in the center of our shooter. This makes us able to be more accurate. The shooter is made of an adjustable hood and a turret. It's a 360-degree turret, which makes us able to shoot from anywhere on the field. We also have 4 inches inertia wheel made of brass to be able to shoot further away.
And Guillaume, your team is also implementing a climber on your robot as well too. Can we talk a little bit more, how that works, and are you finding that you're actually using it in matches too?
Yeah, so this year the climbing is not that important, so there's a lot of teams that don't climb. We still have a climber, so we have a L1 climber, as you can see. A very simple design, kind of like a climber in a box type climber. 1 stage. We have a O-hook shaped to climb, so very easy to align with the tower, and also for the auto. We also, a lot of teams are doing this. We added algae on top, so the robot wouldn't slide off of the post of the tower when climbing. So very simple design. and yeah, works great.
Has your team given any thought to potentially trying to climb in autonomous at all?
Yeah, we are able to climb in auto, and but we're not doing too often the climb since not many teams are also doing the climb for the ranking points, so it's not worth it.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. Build your alliance with so many other FRC alumni who go to Kettering University. Every student at Kettering experiences their cutting-edge co-op programs that seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds. Kettering co-ops are a fully immersive working experience at the leading edge of industry. Head on over to kettering.edu/FRC to learn more about their incredible programs and to get more information.
And on your Robot 2, we talked earlier about this angle frame. Can you talk to me about why it's important?
So it's a very unique design. So basically, with the angle, it makes it so when going over the bump, all four wheels are always touching the ground. So it's very, we're not getting beached too often, prevents us to get beached. And even if we do get beached, this acts as a kind of pivot point. So when we're on the bump, the robot will just tilt one way and we get on beach very easily.
When in your design process did this angle frame come up? Was this like an immediate thing for you guys?
Yeah, it was very early in the season. We did the for and against, and yeah, the angle frame very early in the season we chose to have it. Yeah.
Joel, there's a lot of things in terms of software to dive into on this robot here. So what do you want to start with and highlight why your team's been so successful?
So at the start of the season, we realized really early that pose estimation was really going to be a challenge. So that's why we have 1, 2, and 3 lamplights. Especially this one, that's, as you can see, turreted. And it's always looking at the nearest point of interest, so we can see the most amount of tags we can. For example, if we're in our alliance zone, we're going to look at the hub. If we're in the neutral zone next to one of our trench, we're going to look at the trench. If we're next to the other hub, we're going to look at the other hub. But when we're shooting, we're like actually using it as a turret. Yeah, also, for our shoot on the move, we do compensate linearly with our turret and our hood, so that makes it more accurate. And that algorithm was changed for this regional here at Las Vegas, where in Pittsburgh and Vancouver we used to use a mathematical formula to calculate the parabola that we were going to follow, and then we move the robot speed from that parabola so that we could shoot more precisely into the hub. But now, since it was too hard to tune, because we only calculated how long the ball should stay in the air, we decided to use a recursive shooting algorithm where we create some points on the field associated with the distance and an angle for the hood and a speed for the shooter, so that we can get the most accurate position and calculate the time of flight from that, so that we can use it in our algorithm. So we also implemented a lot of algorithm for filtering out upper tags that we know aren't correct. So if a tag's too far away, we don't trust a lamplight, except for a turret because it's always looking at the nearest stuff, as I said earlier. And we also decided that if the position from the limelights are too far away, then we just ignore it. We did that because the bump was going to be a real odometry challenge this year, and we needed to perfect our vision. And also we used a lot of current-based tuning so that our battery doesn't die out in like the first 30 seconds of the match.
Well, Tech for Kids overall, as you mentioned, continually improving throughout the season, and always one of the best robots that we see at events as well too. So we can't wait to see how your continued success turns out here in Las Vegas, and wish you best of luck the rest of the way. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. Build your alliance with so many other FRC alumni who go to Kettering University. Every student at Kettering experiences their cutting-edge co-op programs that seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds. Kettering co-ops are a fully immersive working experience at the leading edge of industry. Head on over to kettering.edu/FRC to learn more about their incredible programs and to get more information. As you're getting ready for the competition season, think AndyMark as your one-stop shop for all your team needs. AndyMark's Launcher in a Box is a configurable solution that so many teams are finding success with for the rebuilt season. Also available at AndyMark.com, the AMPD AndyMark power distribution board that provides 24 40-amp independently fused output channels for safe, reliable power distribution. That's AndyMark.com.